Alvin.
Hello,
Well,
recording now.
I
So,
right, cool.
yeah,
Am I coming in loud and clear?
you are?
Good. I've got like a little table now that I've got my phone on. Well, it's a makeshift table because I'm actually in bed.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Well,
and it's
so
like
am I as
it's a
well. So,
that's good.
yeah.
That's our studio, isn't it?
Yeah,
Really.
yeah.
So it's just resting on a pillow.
Right.
That's my sort of microphone table. Right. So introduction then, Minnie, go for it.
Yeah, so this is, I've lost count of like what lockdown one this is, but
I think
uh,
it's is it four or five?
yeah, five,
Four
five
or
sounds good.
five. Five sounds about right.
Yeah.
Figure, doesn't it?
So yeah, we were just talking before about what we've been watching, and yeah, it all seems to be really old stuff. We've all we've both been looking back rather than forward this time.
Talking of looking
To,
back, I'm just quickly. I mean, I would just what's your I thought I'd just sort of inquire what your the status is on your lockdown hair.
um, I've got curtains, shall we say?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of talk about people are it's almost well, like you say about going back in time.
Yeah,
Our hair is going back in time to
yeah,
like the mid 90s now.
yeah. Sort of like,
Mine's gone like a crash helmet.
oh right,
I really need to. It's really irritating me now.
yeah. Mine's sort of Sean from Happy Mondays esque.
Sure, rider.
Yeah, yeah, which is it's not a great look.
Mine's and a rider. I think I don't know.
Yeah,
But it's just like it's very getting very unruly. I was
yeah.
almost because I did my weekly shop today, and like I'm gonna have to start wearing a hat. I think when I do my because it's getting a bit embarrassing now.
Yeah, hopefully, I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen? I see that in Germany, the barbers they're open again, aren't they?
Well, yeah, but wasn't there something about? I think I read over here that they haven't opened the hairdressers yet over here, but they're taking bookings and like they're booked up for like a month.
Really?
Some of them are. I don't know every
Bloody hell.
hairdresser, but trying to get a haircut's going to be it's going to be like it's going to be awful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Impossible.
I read somewhere yesterday. It was on the BBC website, I think. It was about people who've been sort of disobeying the lockdown rules and how it made them feel and stuff. And there was this one guy who
Why they're
uh,
being shamed, are they?
well, no, I think they just asked people. They're all anonymous.
Oh,
You
okay.
know what had they done which they shouldn't have done?
Right.
And this one guy, uh, his mum had been complaining about his hair was getting too long, so
Right.
she knew someone who's like a mobile hairdresser,
Yeah.
and apparently she was, you know, there's like this. Um,
It's like black market
yeah,
hairdressing.
sort of backstreet hair.
Underground
Yeah, and he had to go around to this woman's house, um, and
under the cover of darkness.
well, no, it was in broad daylight, and he said that all the neighbours' curtains were twitching, sort of when he was
Oh,
arriving, and then when he left, and you know, he felt really bad about doing it, but I guess his mum was happy that he got his hair cut.
was
But
she nagging him to get his hair cut? Was
yeah,
she?
yeah,
Oh, I
but
haven't quite got to that stage yet.
no, but there is an underground haircut market
I'll have to look
if
on
you
the
look.
dark web. It's probably on there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Together with plutonium and you know other AK-47s,
Yeah, yeah,
terrorist cells, and hairdressers.
that's right. Yeah. I don't know. What
So
is the
yeah,
world
but
getting
there you
to?
go. So there you go. So haircuts are going back to the 90s, and you're watching.
Yeah,
Your viewing habits have gone back to the
maybe that
90s.
was a subconscious sort of
I think it
thing.
probably is. Maybe
Yeah,
that's what it is. Like, oh, you look in the mirror and you think, shit, it's just like well, apart from the added wrinkles,
yeah. It's like
it's like
1990.
it's like looking at 1995 you. So you were
Yeah,
like, yeah, like you say, subconsciously, oh, I'll watch a 90s movie.
yeah. So I watched Reservoir Dogs, which I haven't seen for a number of years. But I remember first seeing it with you in Canterbury. I don't know if you.
Was it Canterbury? It wasn't
Yeah,
Maidstone.
I'm sure it was Canterbury.
No, I think you're probably right now. I think it's that little Is it an Odeon or what is it? An
I don't
ABC
know.
or
Is it still there?
is
I
it
don't know.
5 Post, actually? Actually, now it's a picture house.
Oh, right.
I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but I think it used to be like an ABC or was that sort of, one of them old,
Okay.
or an Odeon maybe. But yeah,
Yeah.
I do remember us going to see it.
Yeah. And I remember, I think there was only three of us in there.
There weren't many, were there?
No, no.
No, because it was kind of it came with a sort of reputation, didn't it? Because I think we had to wait quite a while after the US release,
Yeah.
didn't we? It was a bit like the same thing that happened with oh, what was that Abel Ferrara? Was it Abel Ferrara film?
What,
What
Bad
was the one about?
Lieutenant?
No, was it Abel Ferrara? What was the one about the serial killer?
Oh, Henry, Portrait of a
Henry,
Serial Killer.
that wasn't. Was that Ferrara?
I don't know.
Actually, I don't think it was Abel Ferrara.
No.
No, it wasn't. No, but it's just around that sort of time
Yeah.
because that had a very delayed. Because I think that was done in the late 80s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we didn't get it till like the sort of mid 90s because it
Mm.
was held up in
It's quite,
BBFC
yeah, it's
limbo.
quite controversial, wasn't it, at the time?
I can't remember it. We had it. I don't think it was uncut when it was first originally released over here. I think it only was only released uncut on DVD sometime later,
Mm.
I believe. But Reservoir Dogs, yeah, I mean that again, I don't think it had such a long delay. I think maybe I can't even remember when Tarantino did it. We seen it was it 91 or 2?
Yeah, I would say 92.
I think 92 actually. I
Yeah.
think maybe it was made in maybe it was made in 92, but we had to wait till like the end of the year rather than
Mm.
when it was you know beginning of the year when it was released in the States.
Yeah.
But that's funny because yeah, maybe you could be onto something there, Mill, because like there could be a subconscious thing because for some reason I was thinking of I think someone posted up the movie poster on Facebook, but I was thinking about State of Grace again.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That got me thinking about I wouldn't mind revisiting that at
Yeah.
some point.
Yeah. I used to love
Um,
that film. That was,
I used to love that film.
yeah.
Was it
When,
Phil Janu?
yeah, he did, um,
Into
he
him.
was a music video director, wasn't it?
He was sort of like around the sort of one of the
I think he did a lot
uh,
of U2.
yeah, that's right.
I
Because
think he did,
obviously David Fincher came from the pop video,
yeah.
so one of his sort of contemporaries.
I don't think he went on to do anything of any um,
Note
note.
after that.
Not that, well, I'd have to look it up, but I don't think, I think that was his one film, as far as I
Sort of
know.
major film. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, he got a really good cast together, didn't he,
Mm,
for that?
yeah, that's
And
when Gary Oldman was at his height of craziness, I think.
yeah, I think that probably broke him in America, didn't it?
Yeah,
But yeah, he's probably done drinking, wasn't he, in those
yeah,
days?
he was a bit bloated in that.
Yeah, he
If you
was a
look at
bit.
him,
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, he was. I mean, that sort of suited his character as well, really,
yeah,
didn't it? He was a
yeah,
bit of a sort of wild,
yeah,
drinking, fighting kind of
yeah,
guy, wasn't he? I seem to remember.
yeah. No,
Um,
yeah, the whole cast are brilliant in that.
but Reservoir Dogs, yeah. So you watched? Was that on? Where did you watch that?
It was on Netflix.
It is on Netflix.
Yeah, and yeah,
Does it stand up?
it does stand up. Yeah, yeah, it does.
Because I
Um,
don't think I've watched it since. I think I probably have got the DVD somewhere, but I think I haven't watched it since probably purchasing the DVD.
yeah.
But
As soon as it starts, you know, with the where they're all sitting
dum
around
dum dum
in
dum
the
dum. Oh, does it start in the restaurant?
yeah, where they're talking about like a
Oh,
virgin.
like a virgin. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Of course it starts with that. Yeah, of course it does.
yeah.
That
As soon as it starts with that, it's like, you know, it.
Steve Buscemi's little
Yeah,
monologue about not tipping, isn't there? There's all that
that's right. Yeah,
in that. I do remember that. That's a
and
very standout sort of.
I
It's very
think
quotable, that film, isn't
it
it?
is. Yeah, and you know, it reminded me of why, you know, well, I wish Tarantino uh, would, you know, had
I think there's almost something a bit. It's a bit mammoth about it, isn't there?
yeah, yeah. It's quite stagey.
Yeah, it is very sort of theatrical, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. it's minimal as well, isn't it? You know, because
Yes,
obviously the
yeah,
budget was quite low,
yeah.
so but I think it benefits from that, like having it mostly set in that warehouse,
Yeah, definitely,
for
definitely.
long
It's
periods.
claustrophobic, isn't it?
And yeah, Michael Madsen, that's like a standout performance. I don't think
Well,
he's
that put him on the map, didn't it?
yeah, I don't think he's really eclipsed that, has he?
I think you're probably right, Emmy. I don't think
You
he
know,
has been.
that was like I mean, there's so many characters in that, you know,
You're gonna bark or the little doggy, you're gonna
yeah,
bite.
yeah.
Yeah, you're right. There are some really, there's some great characters
It's
in
an
it.
act.
Yeah,
It's a real actor's film, isn't it?
it is. You can sort of, I mean, because really, there wasn't. I was reading this thing. I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here, but it's about Tarantino. It's not really off on a tangent, but I think it's fascinating to read social media. I mean, and there's a lot of shit on social media. Obviously, there's a lot of junk and fake news and crap like that.
Mm,
But it's quite interesting. On some, I follow a lot of these. Well, not a lot, but I follow a few like movie forums,
mm,
and it's very interesting to hear the views of young film fans as
mm.
opposed to old or older fans like we would be, or older cinema, well, I say fans, but cinema goers.
Yeah.
And I suppose me and you, we are of that generation where basically we grew up with Tarantino, didn't we?
Yes. Yeah.
We remember a time before Tarantino, and then we kind of remember the incendiary impact that he had on cinema.
Mm,
And then we've kind of, even if we haven't religiously followed his career, we've grown up with him, haven't we,
yeah.
really?
Yeah.
um, and it's quite interesting where obviously people have really, younger people perhaps, they know Pulp Fiction,
Mm,
but they're more aware of his later stuff.
yeah.
And there's a bit of a sort of anti Tarantino backlash now.
Oh right.
um, I read a lot of comments saying like, oh, he's unoriginal, and
Mm,
and some of it's valid. Like, the running times of his films, I think, are often they're self-indulgent. I think we've
yeah.
had this discussion before,
I think
and in the past,
he has got
so,
more self-indulgent, hasn't he?
exactly, and in the past where the material warranted a long running time,
Mm,
like Pulp Fiction, I don't remember that ever feeling like a long film.
no.
But I think a lot of his later stuff, the material isn't strong enough to warrant that
Mm,
length in a movie.
yeah.
But it's kind of like it's kind of his shtick now, isn't it?
Yeah. It's
Making
like
them
he
long.
uses. He's very gimmicky, isn't he?
Yeah,
So,
exactly. It's like M Night Shyamalan and his twist endings. It's
yeah.
like that's his thing. So
Yeah.
Tarantino's got long, films that are like vignettes, if you like, of
Yeah.
all scenes kind of mise en scène or whatever it is, all stitched together.
Mm,
um, in this sort of Altman style of Robert Altman style kind of thing, and M Night Shyamalan's got his twist endings, so they seem to both. I suppose there is a danger that it becomes a bit formula.
yeah. And with both of those, you could say that they've gone up their own back passages and
Oh yeah, yeah. I
sort
mean,
of.
for me, there's a period. And I don't, I'm not trying to get you to agreement here, but there's a period where Jackie Brown.
Mm,
I think that was kind of like
underrated. That.
well, underrated film,
Yeah.
but that to me that was the end of his like glory
Yeah.
days in a way. That's vintage uh, Tarantino, and then for me he went off the boil.
Mm.
For all that, I mean, that's quite an old film as well, isn't
But
it? Really.
Jackie Brown is quite an oddity I think in his films
Oh no, I agree. I
because
agree.
it
It was an adaptation, wasn't it? It wasn't
yeah,
always his own. I mean, obviously, I think he adapted the screenplay, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken, but it was based on something else. Whereas all these other films were original screenplays, weren't they?
yeah.
I'm
But
just thinking. I never actually saw that Four Rooms. I never watched that,
no, I never saw that.
so I can't comment on that. But that was that. He only did one segment in that, didn't he?
Mm. But yeah,
Um,
Jackie Brown's a lot uh, slower building, isn't it? It's not normally he's quite pacey, isn't he? But with that, as I remember it anyway, I haven't seen it for a long time either. With the characters, he allows them to sort of breathe a bit.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they're kind of there is a slow burn element to it, isn't
Yeah,
there, where
yeah.
they develop over the course
There's
of
a
the movie.
bit more subtlety as well with it. Almost, because I remember seeing it and thinking, like Tarantino's actually maturing his directing style, and he's sort of going to change now
Do you
from
think
now on.
maybe he regressed a little bit? Like
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
the sort of relative
I don't think
failure.
it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't successful, was it? And
I
yeah,
don't think it was as. I mean, I think critically it was well received, but I don't remember it.
oh right, because I didn't think many people
A
liked it.
lot of
A
I think I
lot of
do
people
seem
thought
to
it was
remember.
boring.
I just think financially, I don't think it was as
Right,
successful as his previous stuff.
yeah, yeah. It's not a crowd pleasing film, I don't think.
I wonder if maybe he looked at that and the relative failure and thought, oh, people kind of want my old stuff, and
Mm,
that's what I'm going to give the public what they want, sort of thing.
yeah.
And then he continued because I mean, um, obviously, like going back to Tarantino, I mean he had, obviously he worked in a video store, didn't he? That
Mm,
was his
yeah,
first job.
yeah.
There was I saw a picture of it actually. I don't know where this came from, some movie blog, and there's a picture of him that exists of him in his movie store, in his
Oh
video
right.
store. He's like serving customers, which is quite funny seeing him prior to its success. But he had
Mm,
about 3 or 4 scripts on the go, didn't he? Because
yes.
Reservoir Dogs was such a monumental, like, sort of hand grenade
Mm,
into the film industry,
mm,
and then everybody wanted a piece of him, didn't
yeah,
they? And
yeah,
they were making his scripts left, right, and centre,
yeah,
like the
yeah,
True Romance, obviously, which he wrote,
yeah,
but Tony Scott directed, and obviously Natural Born Killers, which we referred to earlier when we were
yeah,
talking, but
yeah.
before we came on air, and Oliver Stone obviously adapted that and
Mm.
um, directed it. And Tarantino apparently doesn't like, does he?
No.
He's not keen on Stone's version of that. Yeah, he was like the toast,
Yeah, he
wasn't
was.
he?
Yeah,
Of
everyone wanted to work with him, didn't they? He was like, yeah.
but amazing how many careers he revived. I mean, Harvey
Mm,
Keitel. I mean, what the hell had
yeah,
Harvey Keitel done for
mm,
like God knows how many years?
yeah,
Prior to Reservoir Dogs, I
yeah.
don't even know. I couldn't even tell you what he was in prior to
He,
that.
I didn't know, but he produced it, didn't he?
He did, yes, he
Yeah.
did. I don't think he initially wanted to be in though, did he?
Sorry?
I
Was that?
don't think he initially wanted to be in it.
Oh, right. Oh, no, I don't know.
I mean, I may be wrong. I mean, I remember reading a lot of stuff at the time back in the 90s. I mean, hazy memory and all that. But I seem to remember that Tarantino really had to sort of court him and,
Oh, okay.
woo him to
Mm,
be in it, and had to convince him that it was worth, this fucking, who's this director? No one's
yeah,
ever heard of him.
yeah. Some
So he
kid.
really had to,
Because he must have been
exactly.
quite young
Well,
then.
yeah, he must have been. So he
Yeah,
really had to schmooze him.
yeah.
But then I think once Keitel read the script and that, and he was on board, he probably then said, "Yeah, I'll stump some cash up."
Mm. Well, I'm glad he did because, his performance is brilliant as well.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, oh,
yeah.
amazing
Mm,
performance.
yeah.
I remember. I mean, no, I mean, I don't know. No, you correct me because I haven't. Obviously, you watched. So you watched the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah.
So you've seen this, and it's quite fresh. When did you watch it last night?
Over the
What, a couple of
weekend.
over the
So,
weekend. So it's quite fresh in your mind.
mm,
I remember being a little bit disappointed with Tim Roth.
yes.
I mean, my feeling was that, and I really wanted to, because that was kind of his Hollywood calling
Yeah, it
card as
was.
well.
Yeah, yeah.
And I seem to remember being a little bit underwhelmed by his performance.
Mm.
Is that fair, or am I being unfair?
Um,
Because like I said, I'm thinking, this is 1992 me watching, looking back.
I know what you mean because, um,
I don't know if it was the accent or
he did stand out from the other, Reservoir Dogs. You know, yeah, he didn't seem to quite fit.
gel.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. Um,
And I didn't have that feeling about him in Pulp Fiction. I thought he was, I know it was a smaller role, but I thought he was fine in that.
yeah,
But they just, I don't know. I mean, I just can't put my finger on it. I just maybe it was a bit of slight miscasting. I don't
Yeah.
know.
The I
Um,
mean, the bit with him in the back of the car, that's still quite a
Powerful.
powerful scene, where he's obviously there's blood everywhere. He's,
He's bleeding out, isn't he, in the
yeah,
car?
and Harvey Keitel's trying to sort of,
You're not gonna die.
yeah,
Whatever he says.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. There is a bit of a mismatch, I think, there.
How would you right? What's so I'll give my view on Tarrant. I mean, well, speeding fast forwarding to like here and now. I mean, I really I don't know how many of Tarantino's more recent films you've seen. Um,
I saw the last one.
you did, yeah.
Most,
No, I thought that was a slight return to form. That Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
yeah,
Yeah, um, yeah. I mean, it has got that sort of slightly. The ending is kind of rather anachronistic, isn't it? Really.
yeah. I didn't like the ending.
I just thought it was like a bit silly.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
does.
I know he's kind of gone. He's got that sort of revisionist historical revision,
Yeah,
revisionism now, hasn't
mm,
he, with his stuff?
yeah,
That's the one. He did it. He had it with Inglorious Bastards,
mm,
which I seem to remember at the time thinking it was all right, but I
yeah.
didn't love it.
No,
And then it has got that almost screwball comedy ending with them, like don't they flamethrower Hitler and blow him up and shoot him
yeah,
and
yeah.
everything? And then obviously with Once Upon a
Uses
Time in
the
Hollywood,
old flamethrower again.
yeah, it's a flamethrower again, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
Rio?
yeah. I just
And
thought
it's
it
but
was a
it's
little bit.
it's a bit almost cartoony, the
Yeah,
violence.
yeah,
And to that point, it had been quite a sort of staid, really a drama, wasn't it?
mm,
Really.
yeah. And
Um,
then Brad Pitt bashes that woman's head, doesn't
he,
he, against the
he feels
fireplace?
the hippie. Well, obviously
Yeah,
the Manson
yeah,
family, but it's a bit silly,
yeah,
and it almost undermined all the good work. I kind of wonder why Tarantino made that creative choice. It's just I know it wasn't I know it wasn't like you know a dramatization or I kind of guessed it wasn't going to
mm,
be like a documentary.
yeah,
Um, Luckily, I didn't know the ending, so that wasn't no one spoiled the ending for me.
mm,
But I think I kind of gathered by what I'd seen it was going to be like a bit of a love letter to the golden age of Hollywood.
yeah,
Sort of wish fulfillment fantasy almost.
yeah,
Um, Kind of
yeah.
got that feeling.
Yeah, I quite liked DiCaprio in it. You know, the the descent of his career. You
Well, it's
know,
almost, isn't it? It was almost a bit postmodernist and meta in that DiCaprio was really kind of playing an actor very much like the kind of actors that Tarantino hired for his films, as in past their prime,
yeah, yeah,
slightly
that's
faded.
true. Yeah,
So it's kind of like a film within a film, isn't it? It's
mm,
like kind of autobiographical in that
yeah,
regard, almost.
yeah,
Like because I mean, think how many careers he revived. Like Cartel we've mentioned, but Walken
yeah.
and Travolta.
Travolta, yeah,
Sam L. Jackson,
yeah.
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis, yeah,
I mean, bloody hell. I mean,
yeah,
Bruce Willis has gone back to doing uh, bargain bin straight to DVD movies now,
yeah. But
but
after that, it resurrected him, didn't it?
yeah, he was hot. He was hot shit, wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
I mean, so sort of going full circle. I think a lot of whether younger film goers these days, cinema goers, they don't as they haven't grown up with Tarantino like we have, all the actors that he cast.
mm,
Maybe they don't have so much of a um, they haven't got quite so much of a connection to
no,
him.
yeah,
I don't know, but it's just quite interesting reading like people's views. I'm always interested in people's opinions, reading what people say. We've got a bit more affection, I guess, haven't we?
yeah, and tend to be a bit more disappointed when he sort of falls short of what you know think
of
that
what
he
he
can
used to
do.
be.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I can't remember what's the name of the one where it's about slavery.
That's
Um,
Django Unchained.
Django Unchained. Yeah. See, I didn't like that.
I didn't like that. I thought there was brilliant scenes in it.
Mm,
It had individual really good scenes, but it was like we were saying earlier. It was too self indulgent,
yeah.
and scenes went on. I mean, that plantation scene with DiCaprio went on forever,
Yes. Yeah.
so long.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think I'd kind of given up a little bit by then, but because I was thinking, this is just, I'm kind of getting fatigued now.
Yeah, and I think he, with the violence, that's become a calling card for him, isn't it? Like he has to have a really
Oh yeah, yeah,
gratuitously
yeah. But
violent.
I thought that was the shame with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It just got over the top violent at the
Yeah,
end.
yeah, like you
It,
say, cartoony sort of.
Cartoon. It was a bit, yeah, it was just silly,
Yeah,
and it was so protracted. That scene went on for ages, when it was like bashing the head in.
yeah,
Then it was like the dog attacking them, and then
yeah,
it was like the flamethrower, and then it was bullets, and then it was, I don't
yeah,
know, basement battle, whatever. It just went
yeah,
on and on and on,
yeah,
and it just got more sillier as it went on.
yeah.
And
It's almost
yeah, I
like a
mean,
Looney Tunes cartoon,
yes,
sort of
exactly. It's
that sort
exactly
of
what
thing.
it was like.
Yeah,
Definitely,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Um,
And
and
I think he
yeah,
is. I
sorry.
know, he is a self-confessed magpie of like
Oh
all.
God, yes, 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 yes.
He steals
He
from
does. He
everything,
does
doesn't he?
still mercilessly. Oh,
But
definitely. Peckinpah, and I guess films that and obviously a lot of Asian cinema.
yeah,
He draws from a lot of that, doesn't he? Like for Kill Bill and stuff. Obviously, he did more,
yeah, maybe
obviously.
that's where the style of violence comes from, because a lot of those martial arts films are really over the top, aren't they? Sort of with
Yeah,
their
yeah. Well,
violence and
that's obviously in True Romance. Christian Slater's character. He's a big. Is it Sonny Chiba?
that's it. Yeah, yeah,
He's a Sonny Chiba fan, isn't he? So he takes Alabama to the, well. It's for his, but she's basically been uh, bought by his. Doesn't he? Because he's kind of Tarantino, isn't he? Doesn't he work in a video store like Christian Slater's character?
yeah. I think he does. Yeah.
I'm sure he does. And his colleagues club together and buy him a prostitute, basically, don't
Mm.
they? He's Patricia Arquette, Rosanna Arquette, sorry.
Yeah, he's a bit of a geek, isn't he?
He's a bit of a geek, and he takes her to see a Sonny Chiba movie, doesn't he?
Mm.
Or he's in, yeah, I think, or she meets him in a movie theater. I can't remember, or cinema. This is a question. Because I'm becoming, everyone's becoming Americanized, and we're losing our British culture now, obviously. What do Americans call the theater? Because they call cinema theater.
Mm. I don't know.
Because
Good question.
well, yeah, they always say, "Oh, I saw, Tarantino's film at a theater."
Mm.
I'm thinking, well, what do you call a theater then? Is that,
Yeah.
do they call that cinema? Yeah, I'm joking, obviously, but it's like, that could cause a lot of confusion, couldn't it?
Mm.
Because we have obviously a distinction. Like, theater is like a play at a theater, and
But is
cinema,
that
a film is at a cinema, isn't it?
but you theatre and theatre? Wouldn't we say going to the theatre?
Yeah,
Spelt not
but that's what they say, don't they? Or
theatre,
is it spelled differently?
theatre, isn't it?
Do they spell it differently then?
Yeah, ER,
Oh,
theatre.
oh, okay. Well, so they do have theatre as well then.
I don't know.
They must do, mustn't they? Surely.
We'll have to ask.
I'll have to ask an American.
Yeah.
But that would, but even then, you'd have to stress the bit, wouldn't you? Like, I'm going to the theatre tonight, not the theatre. I don't know. It just tickled me the other day, because every time, a lot of these film sites and blogging sites or whatever, they're like American sites, and they'll go like, "Yeah, I can't wait till it opens in the theatre." And I'm thinking, it's not going to open in the theatre; it's going to open in the cinema.
Yeah.
But that's just my little bugbear, and sort of
That's
anecdote there.
our cousins. We
Yeah,
speak
they
the
did
same
say,
language, but um,
what's the saying? There's a
there is a
saying, isn't
saying,
there?
isn't there? Yeah.
Yeah, there is. I can't remember it off the top of my head. We're separated by the same language or something.
Mm.
No, it doesn't. That's not it. But anyway, but yes, it's quite wild. But So yeah, so any did it bring back memories of the 90s?
It brought back lots of memories. Yeah, fond memories of like well, funny enough, it did uh, bring back memories
Is it
of.
two nations separated by a common language?
Yes,
Is
that's
that?
it. Yep.
I thought I'd
Well
better
done.
get that out before I forget
Well
it.
done.
Sorry, carry on.
Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, because like you said, that was around the same time. I
And
was I
Able
was
for Art movies,
yeah, just thinking of all those films that we went to see at the cinema
not the theatre.
around that time. Yeah, yeah.
We went to see plays at the theatre.
Yeah. Um,
Um, but I think because that we had a very voracious appetite. I mean, I
mm,
remember. I mean, obviously, I'd seen movies. I always loved cinema. Um, and I mean, I think one of my first. Well, obviously, we're going to talk about Harrison Ford, sort of for some reason. I don't know why. Just it's sort of serendipity. But I was talking about Blade Runner to you earlier and Star Wars.
yeah,
Because it's May the 4th today, isn't it? So
yeah.
happy May the 4th. May the 4th be with you, everybody out there
Mm.
in lockdown land.
Are they doing anything for? Has anything been done,
Yeah,
or has it been a low
Disney
key?
Plus. If you've hired up, if you splashed out on Disney Plus, you can now watch the entire saga now if you want.
Oh, right.
They've got Rise of Sky. It's pissed off loads of people who bought Rise of Skywalker about like 4 weeks ago,
Uh-huh.
but it's now on Disney Plus.
Right.
But you can watch, yeah. So their little thing is you can now watch the entire nine. That's more than
Mm,
that, isn't it? Because you've got Rogue One as well. So however many Solo, however many Star Wars films there are, you can watch them all now on Disney Plus.
right.
So that's what they've done for that, I guess.
Mm,
But anyway, sorry. But yeah, so back to the 90s. Sorry, Millie. Yeah, yes. So um, a voracious. I remember us just like sort of eating up
mm,
like cinema. Like I remember me and you, well, you because you drove at the time.
mm.
I remember us driving to London because it was the only cinema showing True Romance.
Yeah,
Leicester Square, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah.
And then
That's
we got
right.
fucking stuck on the London Circuit. We kept going
Yeah,
around in circles for
yeah.
about an hour, didn't we? We couldn't find the off ramp,
No,
the off
that's
road,
right. I
off
think it
ramp or
was my
whatever.
first time driving up to London.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
and I remember we so wanted to go and see. And I've got a very vivid memory of that actually.
Mm,
I've got a very vivid memory of us going to Leicester. I'm sure it was Leicester Square,
yeah, it
wasn't it?
was. Yeah, in the big.
Uh,
Yeah,
I don't remember where you parked. Where did you park?
I've got no idea now. I can't.
Did you find you must have found like a car park somewhere,
God
or
knows.
did we? I can't remember that. Or did we get a tube into like the centre of London?
No
Can't remember any
idea.
of that. But I do
No.
remember us. I remember it being in one of the smaller cinemas, wasn't it?
Mm.
It wasn't in like the
It
main.
wasn't in the big one.
Well, I think it was a multiplex, wasn't it?
I don't
Did they have
know.
multiplexes then?
I,
I think maybe they had like three screens in a cinema.
it was. I remember it. Yeah, it was quite an event.
And I remember that they had the big like the what they call the freestanding display unit, the FSDU,
Mm.
and I remember that was in the foyer
Yeah.
or up the top of the stairs or whatever. I'm sure we went up
Right.
like a few flights of stairs to see it because it wasn't in the main,
Okay. In the big.
the big main screen.
Yeah.
It was like in a smaller screen.
Right.
And I remember that seeing the big FSDU because I mean, we were major. Well, obviously, it had an ensemble cast, but we were major Gary Oldman fans, weren't
Yeah.
we?
Yeah.
And I think partially that was one of the reasons we wanted to see
Yeah.
it because
Yeah.
he
And
was
he,
obviously
he
like
didn't
director.
disappoint. In,
No, he really didn't.
no.
He
Stole
really didn't.
stole the scene.
He kind of did, really, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did steal the scene, and obviously it's got the classic walk-in
Yeah.
scene, and what's his name? Apocalypse Now. Help me out, Mel. If he dies, the word dies.
Oh.
Hopper, Dennis
Yes.
Hopper. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sort of that's a very
Yeah.
that's an
With
amazing
his
scene,
with
isn't
his
it?
watch.
No, that's Pulp Fiction.
That's Pulp Fiction. What?
Pulp Fiction's a wash up the arse.
Yeah.
True Romance is the wops and the
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and the in the N word,
Yeah,
which we can't say, isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
I believe.
No,
Yeah,
you're right.
I
Yeah,
think
that that was
Tarantino's the only white guy who can use that word.
that's something that I picked up from Reservoir Dogs. Um, Watching it now, how many references to black people, like quite derogatory.
Do you mean the epithets that
Yeah,
you can't say?
yes, yeah,
Yeah, because there
uh,
isn't actually. I don't actually think. Is there any black characters in?
no,
Even one of the cops?
no, no, I don't think there is.
Because there is a shootout, isn't there, on the
Yeah,
streets? And
no,
yeah,
I
no,
don't
yeah.
recall.
Well, I think he did. He has in the past got a bit of stick for being white centric, hasn't he?
Yeah,
Even though he's, Samuel L. Jackson has been in almost every. Uh, well, he was in True Romance as well, wasn't he, Samuel L. Jackson?
yes,
Which is kind of weird that you've got, a different director, Tony Scott, directing for Romance, but he cast Samuel L. Jackson. And then Tarantino do you think he kind of cherry picked him? Oh, he was good in True Romance. I'll have
mm,
him in Pulp Fiction.
yeah, yeah, that is
But
weird. Yeah, but yeah, it's a very well. Reservoir Dogs is a very well. There's no female characters, is there?
at all, not even Tim. Does Tim Roth have a girlfriend?
No,
There's not even any. No,
no.
it is all male centric.
It's white male.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I suppose really that would we were talking about. I think in our last one, like films that perhaps wouldn't get made today because
Mm. It would
of
be
the climate.
be a
Maybe.
very different film, I think, if it were made
I think
today.
you're right. Probably have a more multicultural
Yeah,
cast, wouldn't
and it
it?
wouldn't have the impact that it had at the time. I
Well,
don't
that's the
think.
thing. I mean, so that's a thing. I think you got to consider, like what people young say your millennials or your 20-year-olds today. They wouldn't appreciate how big an impact him. I mean, I don't know what you think about this, and I'm not trying to go overboard, but really, I think for me, cinema was in a bit of a doldrums, a bit really, wasn't it?
Mm.
If you really think about sort of late '80s, early '90s cinema, all you really had. I mean, I know there was, I know Hollywood wasn't all cinema. And you had like indie films, and you had world cinema. Had European films, obviously. But I mean, if we're talking populist sort of, movies,
Mm.
you were still getting over the sort of hangover of the '80s action heroes, weren't you? Really,
Yeah,
you still had the Schwarzeneggers and the Stallones and that kind of um, I love a lot of that kind of
mm.
film, but I mean, it was a lot of it was quite shallow, wasn't it, and
Yeah,
superficial.
yeah. Full on sort of action films.
Yeah, it was just explosions and
Yeah,
like the Lethal Weapon movies and stuff like that.
yeah. Little one-liners here and there.
Yeah, quips, lots of quips,
Yeah,
and yeah, really, there wasn't really much sort of variety in movies, was there really?
no.
I mean, I don't. You had your sort of summer blockbusters, which were all kind of a type, bit of sort of almost sort of manufactured to a degree.
Mm.
Focus groups led, I guess, a bit like stuff is now to a degree, especially like the Disney stuff or whatever.
Mm.
And yeah, so you had the big blockbusters, but you didn't really have any. I don't really remember much interesting sort of mid-budget, low-budget sort of movies around that time until Tarantino came along and sort of shook up the industry a bit. I
Yeah,
think he did shake up the industry, didn't
yeah,
he?
yeah. He did. Yeah,
Because I think it kind of proved that dialogue there was an audience for dialogue heavy character based movies. They didn't all have to be like Stallone or Schwarzenegger punching people's faces in and blowing stuff up.
mm.
There was a market for that,
Yeah. And
and even sorry, Mill.
I was just going to say it's quite interesting as well in Reservoir Dogs the scene with the policeman where Michael Madsen's character's torturing the policeman,
Yeah, yeah,
and when he cuts his ear off,
yeah,
you
yeah.
don't actually see that the camera moves to one
That's
side,
right. It
doesn't
does.
it?
It pans, doesn't it?
Yeah, and
And then pans back.
that was quite powerful at the time, because you didn't actually see what he was. You knew what he was doing.
Well, that kind of showed a bit of restraint from
Yeah,
Tarantino. That maybe he's lost a bit since then.
yeah,
Like that was a good sort of example of that not showing is more powerful than showing it.
yeah, yeah.
A bit like when a bit like not seeing the alien in Alien. It's
That's
it's
right.
kind of more scary because your imagination fills in
Yeah,
the blank, isn't it?
just hearing the screams of
Yeah, yeah,
the
exactly.
policeman, is actually, and knowing what he is actually doing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
That's more horrific, isn't it, than
yeah,
actually showing it?
yeah,
No, I totally agree. I totally agree with
yeah.
that.
And that whole scene is like beautifully played out,
Oh,
like with the music and everything, and
yeah,
you know,
the choreography
yeah,
and
yeah. No, it's and I mean that's the start of him using music as well, isn't it?
oh my God, that's
That's
another thing. I mean,
another thing of his, which has
his
become
obscure sort of music taste. I mean, Jesus. I mean, say what you will about him. He's a really intelligent guy, and he has he must have like an encyclopedia,
yeah,
an encyclopedic knowledge of music and
yeah,
movies because some of the stuff that where's it come from?
yeah, and he
I mean,
makes it
no, that song
mainstream.
that in that. Well, I mean, what is that? Clowns to the left of
Yeah,
me, and it Strokers to the
dealers
right.
will.
Dealer's Will. I
Yeah,
mean, who the hell had ever remembered that?
yeah,
That was so obscure, wasn't it?
yeah, and I think it got into the charts, didn't it? I
I
think
think
that
it
song.
did. I
Yeah,
think it did.
yeah,
So he not only revived sort of movie careers, he revived a lot of
yeah.
music careers as well,
And
probably.
whenever you hear that song, what's the first thing that you
Well,
would think
exactly.
of?
Exactly.
It made
And
it.
it does get played on the radio occasionally. I mean, I heard it a few sort of months back. It was
Yeah,
played on radio too.
mm,
And yeah, exactly. The first thing you think of is that scene in that Tarantino movie.
yeah, and he's done that, countless times, hasn't he? Sort of
Yeah, yeah.
with other
Oh,
songs.
was it "You'll Be a Woman
Yeah,
Someday"? I mean, everyone associates that now with Pulp Fiction.
yeah,
I mean, that is a real talent, isn't it?
yeah,
So I think people to just write him off and dismiss him. Oh, he's what's he done for cinema? His old hat. I mean, they
mm,
really need to go back and
yeah,
really try and look at the landscape of cinema at that time, 1992.
yeah,
Like we're talking about going back in time. How he kick-started really a lot of character-based movies. I mean,
mm,
you had so many Tarantino copies, didn't you?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it did get a little bit tedious because almost every film, every sort of indie sort of, you know, what sort of genre would you put it in?
um,
Uh, Crime.
yeah,
Every sort of indie crime movie was like a knockoff, wasn't it, of Tarantino around
yeah.
that time?
Trying to be clever,
Yeah,
with
clever dialogue,
yeah,
smart ass dialogue. I mean, some were all right. I mean, you had some were better than others. I mean,
mm.
did you ever see a film called Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead?
Yes, yeah, that's
I
really
mean,
good.
that was a sort of a more high quality knockoff, but I mean,
Mm,
it was a knockoff. It even had Christopher Walken in, didn't it?
yeah,
That's how much of a knockoff it was.
yeah.
Even borrowed some of the cast.
Had some
Um,
choice dialogue in that as well.
yes, yeah, yeah.
Was it something about fecal eater?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
isn't there?
you're a
Because
fecal
isn't
eater.
there even a scene a bit like Reservoir Dogs but it's Walken, isn't it? Isn't he kidnapped and they tape him up his mouth and he's like on a chair, he's taped to a chair or something?
Yeah,
I mean, I
rings.
haven't seen that
No,
film
I haven't.
since
No.
since I've watched it when it came out. Um,
Is
but I
that
mean, even it. Sorry,
Andy Garth?
yeah, Andy Garcia is the
Garcia.
sort of he's the kind of the lead star, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah,
But and even sort of more. I think it probably gave more confidence um, to a lot of filmmakers knowing that there was an audience. Because when was Carlito's Way? Was that after? That was after Reservoir Dogs, wasn't it?
yeah. I think that must have been
Was that a
90.
year later?
I don't know. I want to say 95,
I
or
think it's
was it
before that.
94?
I think we saw that
Or
before uni. I think that was one of the last films we saw
oh, okay.
because I remember that very vividly. We watched that in Maidstone. I remember
Yeah,
vividly, and we went to. I think we went to maybe went to a bar afterwards or before. I can't remember
Mm.
now, but I remember sort of because we always used to like analyze the film afterwards, didn't we?
Mm.
Like we'd come out and see it and sort of do our own little sort of film review of it.
Yeah.
And so I think that was just after Unforgiven,
Okay.
which we also saw, which I
Yeah.
think Unforgiven was about 92, and I think that was 93, Carlito's Way. But I wonder, like, any of those kind of films around that time, the De Palma stuff, would that have been made if Tarantino hadn't had a massive success with Reservoir Dogs? Because I
Yeah.
think that kind of that genre, I think, kind of was dead, wasn't it? The
Mm.
crime sort of gangster. I know you had Goodfellas or
Well,
whatever,
yeah.
but
When was Goodfellas?
I think that's 1990. But I think that was a bit of
Right.
an anomaly,
Mm.
really, because that had Scorsese's name attached to it, so
Yeah.
it had the sort of cachet, didn't it, of his name,
Mm.
and him going back and doing, oh look, he's you
Yeah.
know um,
Yeah.
another
Gangsters.
gangster movie, yeah,
Yeah. Mm. Yeah. It's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. Because
Interesting sort of period.
yeah, a very interesting period, and so I think before people knock Tarantino, I mean, I know his more recent output hasn't been as.
Mm.
I thought Once Upon a Time to Hollywood, Once Upon a Time, what is it? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, sorry.
Yeah.
I think that is a slight return to form.
Mm.
Um, I mean, fair play. I mean, he's been going decades now, hasn't he? It
Yeah.
must be hard to keep fresh and at the top of your game. But he does always assemble a good cast,
Mm.
whatever he's doing.
Mm.
But that's another weird thing. I was in Tarantino connection again. I was listening to keep talking about going back to the 90s. There must be something in the air. I think that is going to be the next. Maybe there's a thing going on. That's the next thing. Really, like everyone's in this lockdown, they've gone mad,
Mm.
and we're going to just revisit 90s films now. Because I saw Sylvester Stallone did a Q&A like in his house.
Right.
It's quite sweet actually. He comes across quite good in it. To be fair, I know he gets some stick, but he's quite funny because halfway through, it's his wife, I presume, she calls him. She doesn't obviously know that he's doing like this
Yeah.
video conference type thing, and she's like, "Sly, Sly," and he's like, I'm doing something. I'll be there in a minute. I'm doing something." It's quite sweet. It is quite sweet because he's literally like just doing it on his mobile phone. Do you know what I mean? And people are like, they've sent in questions. Obviously, I think it was on his Instagram page. That's what it was.
Right.
It was like an Instagram live thing,
Mm.
and they had loads of questions. Like, obviously a lot of it was Rocky based. How did you, what kept you going? Like, and he did say something quite good. He did say like, you just got to persevere. He said people. He said you just got to not let all the knocks that you will get really set you back. You've got to have a clear dream of what you want to achieve. And he said you just got to keep going for it
Mm.
and dream big
Mm.
and don't let people basically try and stop you fulfilling your dream. Which sounds a bit corny, but it's quite cool. He was talking about his bodybuilding days and doing in the gyms and having fights in his movies. But someone asked him, are you going to do a Demolition Man sequel? And he said, yeah, they're working on it.
Mm.
So there's going to be a Demolition Man 2, mate. I mean, God knows. I mean, Jesus. I mean, that film's like 30 years old nearly, isn't it?
Mm. It's
I mean,
funny
a lot. Well, sorry.
funny you mentioned that because I was listening to an American
Well, I was
podcast.
thinking this time, could maybe Stallone could break out Wesley Snipes from prison, couldn't he?
Yeah. Yeah,
He's not paid his tax.
that's right.
But how are they going to explain him being old, like Stallone? Like they thawed him in the first one, didn't they?
Yeah,
Thawed him.
that's true.
So is it like he's been rethawed, but it's a bit like when you refreeze a lasagna? It's gonna be because they say you shouldn't refreeze stuff once it's been defrosted, don't they? Once it's been thawed out.
They'd bung
So
it
maybe
in the
they got
microwave and
salmonella.
he's part cooked.
But anyway, so you expect that in sometime in.
Yeah.
God knows. Because a lot of these old actors like Harrison Ford revisiting Blade Runner, Death
Yeah.
and all the rest. Anyway, sorry, Mil, carry on.
No, I was just going to say that I was listening to something, and they were saying about Demolition Man, how it's quite um, apt for what
Yeah,
we're going through now. Because I mean, I don't
the
remember,
wokeness.
but there's a lot of social distancing in it. There's things, you can't touch things. I don't
Oh
remember
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's very PC as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
'Cause that's the
yeah,
whole running joke, isn't it? That anyone swears because basically it's like he's like someone completely out of time, isn't he?
yes, that's it.
He's been frozen for I don't know how many hundreds of years it's supposed to. I think it's supposed to be like 80 years or 60 years or something.
Mm,
And, but when he wakes up, there's like this utopian. No one swears, do they? And no,
yeah.
there's no gun crime. And obviously, what's his name? What's his son's character? He's something like something Simon Phoenix, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, yeah,
I think he's called Simon Phoenix,
yeah.
and it's like he's like they've never encountered someone as violent as Wesley Snipes, have they? Because
No,
he's like gun toting and swearing and punching people in the face, and they're living in like this kind of utopian, pacifist society, and they just can't deal with him because they're not used to like violence, so they have to thaw out Stallone, don't they?
yeah.
But I think the very clever line is, well, I think the line of the tagline was, you have to, oh, what is it? I think it was something like hire a killer to catch a killer or something. It
Right.
was something like that. That was the, but it's quite a good high concept, really, isn't it? I
Mm.
always thought it very much reminded me. I know I have to shoehorn Judge Dredd in here every time I do this podcast, but it did very much remind me a bit of the whole sort of Dredd world. Not so much that Stallone is like Judge Dredd because he's kind of the opposite, but I mean in that you've got an Undercity, which is where what's his name, the comedian Dennis
Oh,
Leary.
oh, yes, yeah,
You've got an underground sort of. You've got an old city in because they're like this. They're kind of like trying to. They're all eating red meat, aren't they? And smoking.
yeah,
They're kind of
yeah.
keeping. They're keeping the old.
Keeping it
The
real.
old keeping it real, yeah. Keeping the old world alive, aren't they? The old,
Mm,
swearing and gun toting and whatever. Um, the old ways, the more coarser,
mm,
uncivilized ways, they sort
yeah,
of keep them going. And that's a bit like Dread. Dread's got an undercity, and also, all right, Mega City one's very violent, and this is like a utopia. But the way that everything's banned, like substances like narcotics and
mm,
sugar and alcohol, it's all kind of
yeah,
banned, isn't it?
yeah,
Which is a bit like Judge Dredd.
yeah.
So I can kind of see why Stallone was attracted to like, oh yeah, I'll do. Oh, that sounds good. Like sort of dystopian future. I've kind of done
Mm,
one of those. I can do another one. I
yeah,
mean, if you watch if you watch sort of Demolition Man and Judge Dredd sort of back to back, Judge Dredd is almost like a sequel or a prequel, if you like.
mm,
They are kind of companion pieces. Not sort of perhaps successfully, but they do kind of share a lot of similar themes and tropes, shall we say.
mm,
But anyway, yeah. So we're going to get. But like a lot of people were saying, because it was announced today actually that it's in development, Demolition Man 2.
mm.
A lot of people are saying, well, what can you do with it? Because we're kind of almost living in a Demolition Man
Yeah,
universe where everything is, comedy's very PC, and everyone's very very worried about saying what they think because they're
mm,
worried about being called a certain thing if you say stuff, and
yeah.
all the rest of it. So yeah, I'm not sure how they put a spin on that. Who knows? But
No, not as,
anyway,
yeah, as relevant as probably in the 90s.
no, no,
No.
because I mean, because really, yeah, coming out, when was Demolition Man? I think that was early '90s, wasn't it?
Mm,
It was still kind of living in that. It was still quite on PC, wasn't it?
yeah,
It's like what we're saying now. Like, you know, can you imagine like an executive looking at one of his scripts these days and seeing all
yeah,
the hold on, mate, you're a white writer director.
yeah.
You've got all these racial epithets in it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to wash, mate.
That's not that's not cool.
And casual sexism,
Yeah, yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So, like you said about women in Reservoir Dogs, the only reference is really the Madonna song, isn't it? Which is
Mm.
kind of
Well,
quite a
yeah,
derogatory
it is.
reading
Yeah,
of that.
in itself. Yeah.
So, I mean, I just don't think stuff like that would get made these days.
No, it's very well in the 90s. The lad culture. Well, particularly in this
Oh
country,
my
was
life,
rife,
yes.
wasn't it?
Oh
You
my
know.
God, Loaded magazine
Yeah,
and
yeah. So
FH. I mean, even I sort of cringed at stuff like that
yeah,
because it was very kind of
but there was a real sort of, men macho sort of,
yeah,
you know.
hard drinking, hard living
Yeah,
sort
yeah,
of
yeah. That
yeah.
was very glamorized, wasn't it?
Oh, definitely. I mean, those
Yeah,
magazines just they kind of existed on that, didn't they?
that's right.
Selling that kind of dream, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah,
Yeah. If you want to be a man, you got to be like this, dressed like this,
yeah.
talk
I
like
don't know.
this, swagger.
Those magazines, is FHM and Loaded, they're
You
not
know
still
what?
going?
I really don't know. I don't think Loaded. I think Loaded folded ages ago. FHM. I really
I
don't
don't
know, to
know.
be honest with
I don't
you,
know. But
Billy.
they
Because again,
just,
I think there was a real backlash against those kind of magazines, weren't there?
yeah.
And I think some I don't know this for sure, but I think some stockists like Smiths refuse to stock them anymore.
Well, FHM was known mainly for its front covers, wasn't it? Like what's on
Yeah,
the front cover?
exactly.
What tasty
Well, it was
burgers.
topless, wasn't it? Inside there was topless. It wasn't always, but you had topless models inside, didn't
Yeah,
you? If
yeah,
I remember correctly.
yeah. So
And yeah, I think sort of like the mainstream magazine stockists like WH Smiths and that, I think they refused to stock stuff like that in the
right.
end. So I think it probably went the way of that. So I'm pretty sure it doesn't exist
Mm,
anymore.
mm.
Like page three went, didn't it? I mean, that went,
Yeah,
didn't it?
yeah.
Although I think hasn't that come back?
It's not on page 3 now, I don't think.
Wait, well, they've just changed the page
I
number, and
don't.
hope
They
people won't
don't do.
notice.
They don't do topless.
Oh, okay,
No,
right.
they're like in bikinis.
Bikinis. Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, but yeah,
But I'm
no.
talking of that. This is such a segue. Oh my god, I've just got to get this in really quickly. Um, I absolutely. I'm going to sound like a real old sort of man now, or like an old. This is going to be such a dad comment, right? Um, well, I began watching this documentary. I didn't finish it, but I did find it a little bit tasteless. As in, it's reality. It's not like it wasn't glamorizing, but I just found the subject matter very, but quite shocking. I am going to sound really old now, but it's a BBC documentary, so it's on iPlayer. It's called Nudes for Sale.
Oh
You heard about this?
no, no.
But this is my God, this is an industry that I knew nothing about.
Mm,
Well, I kind of knew a little about it because I follow like cosplayers, people who dress up as characters, anime characters. I'm not really into anime and stuff, but and people dress up as Star Wars characters, blah blah blah. But sometimes they would say, here's my suitable for work stuff.
mm,
Here's me dressed up as Princess Leia or whatever, let's say, or whoever.
mm.
But if you want to see my other stuff, you have to join my Patreon account.
Right.
And I'm assuming that's stuff like nude and stuff.
Okay.
It's something I've never done, but I
Mm,
mean, I'm assuming it is like stuff that I couldn't put on, Facebook or
yeah.
Instagram or blah blah blah, whatever
Mm,
social networks. And this documentary is about and they're quite young girls. They're like in their teenagers. So I think one of them's 20, but another one started doing it when she was like 16.
mm,
But this is the shocking part, right? There's this I can't remember her name, but she's in her 20s now. But basically, how it works is she has got like I mean, there's some website, I can't remember what it's called now, but basically, if you want to look at these pictures,
mm.
you have to subscribe to like her page
Yeah.
on a website. So obviously they take a cut. That's how it works, and that's how the business works.
Mm.
But she makes 20 grand a week.
Bloody hell.
A
Mm,
week.
mm.
A
Just.
week. I'll say that again. A week. And I was like, my God. And she says, like, I would never, ever be in a job where I would ever be able to
No,
make this amount of money.
no. Bloody hell.
20 grand a week.
Oh. Do you want to say
I'm
that
going to say it
one
one
more?
more time. I won't say it any more times. What I mean, that, do the math, as they say. 80 grand a month. I'm going to say 80 grand a month. What's that a year? I can't
I
add it.
know.
I'm not. It's a lot in it.
Yeah.
But I mean, and literally, yeah,
That's all.
that's
Yeah,
that's
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 almost a
what she does.
million a year, isn't it?
Jesus, it's good work if you can get it in it.
Well, no, it would be a million, wouldn't it?
It's
12.
got to be in it.
Yeah.
But she's got like something. I mean, I mean, the downside of it is, yes, she's making loads of money, but she's expected sometimes to interact with these people, and
Right.
a lot of them are fucking weirdos, aren't they?
Mm.
Like, sending her inappropriate pictures of their nether regions that she probably has no interest in seeing,
Yeah.
and and she says she does feel a little bit scared sometimes
Mm.
because she has conversations, because that's another thing. If you want to Skype me or whatever, or
Right.
it's
That's.
extra.
Yeah.
But there's all these kind of lunatics out there, isn't
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it is rather worrying that
Mm.
that is a thing.
Mm.
And I didn't see all the documentary, but there was a question that it could lead to pornography.
Yeah.
That's like a stepping stone. That's like a
Yeah.
gateway,
Yeah.
because her boyfriend is like a photographer,
Mm.
and quite often people are asked them to get jiggy with it,
Right.
and can we watch you too, and like
Yeah.
that's effectively pornography, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's just quite a worrying
Mm.
thing, but just the amount of money there is to be made in that kind of in that field
Yeah.
is kind of shocking. Like the internet has created all these kind of .com industries, isn't it, that didn't exist before.
Well, people want to get closer to. It's you know, in our day it used to be porno mags, didn't it? You know.
Well, there's that,
Yeah.
but I mean, getting off the sort of the sex industry side of it, even like I can't imagine before Instagram and all that kind of stuff. I would be very surprised that you would have someone like Sylvester Stallone interacting
Mm.
so closely with. Obviously
Fans.
he's
Yeah.
read the questions beforehand. They're not like, it's not live or
Mm.
anything, but having such a direct,
Yeah.
there he is in his wherever he is, his mansion or whatever,
Mm.
and or out on his veranda, and self-isolating like he admits he is. He's saying
Mm.
he's self-isolating, but having that almost that closeness with
Mm.
someone who previously they were kind of untouchable, weren't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah.
I mean, even Schwarzenegger's been doing. I don't know if you watch him, but he's got like they're quite cute actually. He's got like I think he's got like a rescue farm like on his
Right.
whatever it is. Like he's got a big um I suppose he's got massive grounds and stables and stuff,
Like a
uh,
ranch.
and a ranch. Thank you. What I was looking for. And he quite often feeds like the donkeys and the horses come in his lounge, in his kitchen, and he's feeding them. And he posts that on Facebook and stuff.
Mm.
It's quite sweet, really. But I mean, yeah, I mean that's kind of a phenomenon, isn't it now? Like a new phenomenon,
Mm.
like that. The whole Facebook Live, Instagram Live,
Yeah.
all these different Zoom,
Mm.
having Zoom conferences and all the rest of it. And I mean, being of our age, I'm quite naive about a lot of this stuff. It's
Mm.
just, I don't really even. It doesn't really enter into my day-to-day life, so I'm kind of a little bit in the dark about it all.
Yeah.
But there really is a whole different world out there
Mm.
that we kind of don't even know about.
No, that's right.
It's quite scary. I mean,
Yeah.
I know that's getting off movies and stuff, but
No, it's
I
interesting.
just
It's like
wanted to add that.
the fourth wall is like gone, isn't it? Like
But yeah,
between,
exactly.
you know,
And I think the old days I think there was a conscious thing to separate, you know,
that
stars with
yeah,
fans, wasn't there?
that created the glamour, didn't it? Of like the
Exactly. Yeah.
film, the movie star, they
They were
were
they were gods, weren't they? They were like
yeah,
untouchable. They
yeah,
weren't like you or I. They were, they were different. They were
yeah,
cut from different cloth.
and you can't get close to them, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it was an aspirational thing, wasn't it? You'd
Mm.
like to be like, I don't know, Gregory Peck or
Yeah,
Hudson or whoever, Richard Burton, whatever.
because that all sold tickets, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. The
But
romance of it all, like you say.
now they have to be much more approachable, don't they? And not aloof and
Yeah,
not like
yeah, and
Greta Garbo. I want to
yeah,
be alone.
exactly.
You know.
It's
Yeah.
quite interesting, like watching all that sea change, isn't it? Like
Mm.
how things are, like the whole industry. I mean, and is it going to be more like that now? We've had all this lockdown.
Mm.
is it going to be more like, and obviously, because a lot of these are somehow, and if they're not making money like filming movies or TV,
Mm.
I guess they will be doing more stuff like have a personal Zoom message with, I don't
Yeah,
know, Tom Hiddleston or
yeah,
something,
yeah.
300 quid. You just wonder, don't you?
Yeah, you do. Yeah,
Is that the way it's going to go? Like almost interactive kind of
yeah.
type stuff. And they're already talking about like a lot of films they reckon are going to be like virtual set. We were talking about this in the last
Mm.
one, weren't we? But
Mm.
because they, social distancing might have to go on for a long time.
Yeah.
They won't even have actors in the same room together, but it'll all be green screen,
Mm.
virtual set stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting couple of years, I think, isn't it?
Very much so,
Yeah,
very much so.
coming out of this. Yeah, it's going to be probably weirder than going into it.
Yes, I think you could be
Yeah,
right. I think
yeah,
you really could be right there.
yeah,
But so Reservoir Dogs is still thumbs up.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It gets my thumbs up, and
Gets your thumbs up and your earlobes off.
yeah, it's made me want to find another film from that era as well to watch. So yeah, I shall have
Well,
a.
I've revisited. You're talking about revisiting old stuff. Like you said, I think there must be something in the air. Like aside from the coronavirus, there must be this sort of desire to sort of perhaps go back in time when things were normal. More well,
Mm,
the normal basically, weren't they? This is the new normal now. That's the
yeah.
buzzword I'm using. So you've got the new normal, but when it was actually real normal,
Mm,
and normality, and existed. And yeah, I've been trawling through Netflix trying to find stuff that um, I haven't seen before. Really, stuff that maybe stuff that I'd kind of stored in my memory bank and said to myself, oh, I must watch that one day.
mm,
And like I was saying to you before we came on, that I watched K-19, The Widowmaker, which was a submarine movie
mm,
of that genre. There was a lot
yeah.
of them around, wasn't there, for a while?
Yes, there was.
And
Yeah.
I think that's another reason. I mean, we were talking about, I mean, we were just briefly that it was a sort of, as far as I understand it, a major flop, even though it starred Harrison Ford and
Yeah.
Liam Neeson, which I kind of noticed. Oh, that's Han Solo and Qui-Gon Jinn in the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
film.
Bringing it
What
back
about a
to
bit of
Star
stunt
Wars again.
casting? Yeah, exactly. Star Wars. There's a
Yeah.
Star Wars connection
Yeah.
again. Um, with the May the Fourth be with you. But
Yeah.
it was yeah, produced by National Geographic. It was going to, by all accounts, going to kickstart their
Mm,
um, a film company for them, really, like making actual movies. But as it was such a huge flop, it obviously that idea never got off the drawing board.
mm,
But it's a very interesting film. Talking about why it flopped, I think maybe I mean, I think for me, I think I'd got submarine movie fatigue by then
mm.
because I'd seen Crimson Tide,
Hunt for Red October.
Hunt for Red October, and there was Gas Spook before that.
Mm,
I think maybe I thought, oh, is there enough? Is there real room? Is there really enough room for another submarine movie?
mm,
I think I've done submarine movies, but actually it was very good. It's a true story about these Russian sailors who I think it was supposed to be. I mean, it's a dramatization. I don't know how true it is, but in the movie, it's like the maiden voyage of this flagship Russian
mm,
nuclear submarine, and they're putting it through its paces. Harrison Ford's like he's the hard-bitten, driven, captain of the ship who pushes all the crew to their very, their limit. And I think Neeson is like he's like his second in command.
mm.
Well, he was the captain, but he takes a demotion, I think,
Right.
because Harrison Ford's like a colonel or whatever they are, admiral, whatever. So
Mm,
they sort of come to loggerheads a little bit. There's that sort of competitive
yeah.
friction going on. And then there's an accident, and then all the radiation from the nuclear um, power source starts leaking, and they all start dying of radiation sickness and all the rest of it.
Mm,
But it's a very yeah, it's quite gripping.
mm,
It has a slightly spoilers. It has a slightly unnecessary coda at the end where it's like, well, you were asking me and I didn't answer because I said, oh, we'll discuss it on this podcast. But
mm,
because you said, do they all die? And I said, well, I didn't really answer, but the ones who had to repair the reactor very sort of basically by welding pipes and sort of pushing drinking water through the pipes to cool the reactor so it doesn't explode and kill everyone and cause a massive nuclear explosion that kickstarts World War III. It's set in 1961. It's a real events, true story. There's a kind of an unnecessary coda where it's like the fall of the Berlin Wall, so it's like 89, 90, right. And they're all visiting like old salty sea dogs, you know, getting together, like getting the old gang back together to toast the dead of the K-19.
Right.
And there's some rather dodgy old age makeup, which is a bit unconvincing. They've given like Liam Neeson like a wattle on his chin, like this wobbly wattle that's wobbling around, and Harrison Ford looks like he's got sort of cornflakes under his eyeballs. But it reminded that sort of slightly unnecessary. I don't know why I'm drawing comparisons, maybe because it was historical, but you know how the end of Schindler's List goes on a little bit.
I knew you were going to say that.
No, I was going to say that.
Yeah, yeah, with the laying the stones on the.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, Liam Neeson again. You see, it's all his fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just it's a bit redundant. It was like I didn't really need that. You know, it's I don't know what. I suppose perhaps they wanted to sort of bookend it with some, you know, historical thing. I don't know really, but it was just a bit unnecessary. But aside from that bit at the end, it's actually a really good film, and I can't believe I put off watching it as long as I did because I like Catherine Bigelow's. She's the director. I like her stuff generally, and so it kind of passed me by, and I think it was from 2002, so it's nearly 20 years old.
Oh, okay.
So it's taken me a long time to catch up.
I've not seen it. So.
No, it's worth a watch. I mean, it depends how much you have. I mean, I have a casual interest in, you know, that history, that period of history. You know, like the Cuban Missile Crisis and all that. You know, communism, the West and blah blah blah, and the East. But I mean, it does put it into some. It's interesting as an historical. True story, really, and it's quite gripping. It's really well directed. You know, it's very frenetic. Lots of steady cam.
Is it sympathetic to the Russians or like?
Surprisingly, maybe I'm completely out of line here, but I wonder if that might also have contributed to its sort of relative. Well, it's complete failure by all accounts. Is that it's not really pro-West.
Right.
There's a really interesting scene in it, and I wondered how much debate there was to leave this scene out because it is kind of quite deflammatory towards America, particularly. There's a scene in they're all watching like this Russian propaganda stuff, right? There's like a scene they got all the crew together and they've made like a little makeshift cinema, not theatre, cinema, and they got like a white sheet and they're like, you know, projecting this cine film on it, and it is basically all about the how undemocratic America is and how they have repressed the Negro race,
right,
as it's discussed in the film, and how their civil rights record isn't very good. So I'm thinking that's quite a brave thing to put in a big American movie. And so there's that scene that, I mean, it only lasts a couple of minutes, but it's not all glowing, Ruskies are bad, America good.
Well, and in a film like that, probably it would be expected for the Americans to come and sort of save the day or do.
Well, I mean, in reality, they did offer support.
Oh, right.
And it was the captain of it was Harrison Ford, playing the Russian captain, who basically, because of pride and them not wanting the sub to fall into the hands of the Americans, who sort of vetoed the abandoned ship. So there was like a American warship in the background, and they were offering assistance, but the Russians were like, no, it's all right, we're okay.
Yeah.
And in the end, it's another Russian submarine that comes to their assistance,
right,
and takes all the survivors off and all the rest of it. But yeah. So it's not. It is. There are shades of grey, and if there's a connection to make, Catherine Bigelow did another little scene film, which I really highly recommend if you get a chance, if it comes on. It might be on Netflix actually. I saw it in the cinema, and I think I was like, there's about 3 people in there when I went to see it. But it's called Detroit, and it's got John Boyega, who was Finn in the Star Wars movies. Another Star Wars connection. What's going on?
I think I have. I think I've.
Did you
I
see
think I
Detroit?
started watching it.
He's like a black cop, isn't he? And no, is he a black cop? Yeah, he's a black cop. No, he's a security guy, isn't he?
It's about the riots or something.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
did the Watts riots, or
Yeah.
Have you seen it? And it's like a really
I think it
racist
was
white
on
cop.
Amazon.
Oh, it probably is on Amazon.
Yeah.
It's a really good film.
Mm,
I was really surprised by it, and Catherine Bigelow directed that.
yeah.
But it completely fell into obscurity. I don't think it had good reviews, but I don't think anyone went to see it. No one went to see it.
Oh.
And it is a quality film. But I mean, she obviously has an interest in social issues, that sort of do pepper her movies subliminally, almost sometimes, maybe.
Yeah.
But she's a very interesting director. I like her. I mean, for me, my interest in her started back in the 80s with Near Dark, which I think is, for me, that's the definitive vampire movie. You can forget Lost Boys. I know everyone craps on about Lost Boys.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so, it's brilliant. It's so cool. Oh, it's got a great soundtrack. Blah blah blah. But for me, Near Dark, absolutely.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. Yeah.
It eclipses that really. That's like the sort of pop,
Yeah, it's for the teen.
for the teenies. Yeah, it's glossy and it's soft focus and it's Near Dark's gritty and brutal, and I much prefer that film. But so 90s films, I mean, blimey. I mean, that's what it's all about. How are we doing for time, Mil?
We've done an hour and 16 minutes.
Right, I'm just thinking, because I mean, I'm going to shut up now, because I think maybe I'll leave the Harrison Ford loving for another.
Right.
Personally, so I was going to talk about Blade Runner, and because watching K-19, which obviously Harrison Ford's in, I've kind of gone in. I'm doing a bit of a sort of a career retrospective of him. So I watched a bit of Blade Runner again the other night, and I watched a little bit of Blade Runner 2049. Have you seen that?
Only a small amount. I think you showed me
around here. I got 3D specs out, didn't I?
Yeah.
Ryan Gosling, but yeah, I'll do the Harrison Ford retrospective another time. So how else have you been filling your time? Oh well, I must say, there's me handing it over. 90s. I was also listening to Faith No More again today. So how 90s is that?
Yeah. Well, good choice.
But I mean, what is it with the 90s shit?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
90s hair, 90s music, 90s movies. What's going on?
That's what we're going to go back to, like
that's what it is, isn't it?
Power dressing.
What did we wear in the 90s? Was it plaid shirts?
Yeah, there's a lot of pastel colours.
It was there flares? No, not flares, but I mean, was there baggy stuff? Like what? I'm trying to think of like the grunge kind of what was people wearing in, like sackcloth or whatever the hell it was. There was lots of sort of
gingham.
There was lots of gingham, wasn't there? And tassels and stuff. So we were all worried about we were going to go back like to the Dark Ages, and it was going to be like sort of Neolithic sort of time. But really, we're just going to go back to the 90s.
Yeah. Yeah.
And perhaps we'll have massive mobile phones or whatever. American Psycho, that's the next one that needs to be on the watch list.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was 90s, wasn't it?
I think it was, yeah. Yeah, another.
But yeah, so what have you been? Yeah, so aside from growing your curtains, what else have you been doing? And watching Reservoir Dogs.
I went for a very long walk today.
A very long walk.
Very long walk.
Where did you go for your very long walk?
Buell.
Oh, Buell Water.
Yeah.
Oh, I've been there. Was it busy?
No, we didn't. You can't go to the actual,
Oh, you can't go to the lake.
Well, you can, There's like
Oh,
footpaths all around it, public footpaths, but you can't go in the main bit. That's all closed.
oh, okay,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah, took a walk around.
And were there people walking about?
Yeah, yeah, there was loads.
Oh,
Yeah, I
it was
mean,
quite a nice day today, wasn't it?
the amount of people that are, you know, walking now is quite amazing. The countryside's full of people.
Yeah, I wonder if there is a slow defiance of the lockdown. I don't know.
No, I think there definitely is.
Do
Yeah,
you see an increase in sort of traffic and stuff? Because
yeah.
I literally, I mean, I haven't. But I do my walk every day around the block, but I don't really sort of venture
Don't
further
venture
than
any
that.
further.
Only my once a week shopping. So
Mm,
when um, it's strange. It seems to be very um inconsistent. Like the other day, for some reason, the traffic outside the house there was a lot,
mm,
and it was like almost like what's going on.
yeah.
But today it's been fairly quiet, so
All
I
right.
don't. Yeah, I don't quite know why that is.
No, there is much. It's very
But there is
noticeable.
much more around where you are.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just
Yeah,
a lot
odd.
more movement.
And even my walk though, maybe I just timed it luckily. But I did I pass anyone? I think I passed two people. But sometimes there's been times when there's been a whole like bunch of people that I've
Right.
had to sort of negotiate and navigate.
Mm,
So it's
yeah. I think
pretty cool.
this is week 6, isn't it?
It is. But
And
when's the app coming? That's going to be the middle. They're introducing this app, aren't they? Where it's
yeah, a couple
supposedly
of
going to
weeks
track
or
all
something. They're
coronavirus
trying it
sufferers.
out on the Isle of Wight, aren't they?
That's right.
Yeah. So
And then
see
we're
how it
all
goes
going to be
on there.
expected to download it. And so
Yeah.
how's it work? So if you
If you've
feel
got
ill, you basically tap in and say, "Oh, I feel really shit,"
yeah,
and then someone else says, "Oh, Christ, that bloke who lives." But how do they? Is it
but just because I mean, you could just say like,
Is it
oh
GPS though?
no, it's Bluetooth.
So how would they? All right. So okay, you felt groggy. You've been to a certain place.
Mm,
You've got home, and maybe 2 days later you feel really crap.
yeah.
How do they know where you've been 2 days earlier? Then
I don't know. I guess they're using the Google.
they track it. Are they tracking where your mobile phone was, sort of
Yeah,
thing?
they are,
Oh,
aren't
so
they? Already.
they're saying, oh look, 2 days ago he was here,
Mm.
and right, okay, yeah. Because
But
otherwise, I mean,
it's not.
if you've gone home, all they're going to know is that he's at home and he feels quite ill.
Yeah,
They need
but
to know where
I don't
you've
know how they're
been.
going to tell like anyone that you've been in touch with that will stay away because it's supposed to be like anonymous, but you're not giving your name apparently.
No, no,
You're
yes,
just
I did hear that bit
so
on
I
the
don't
yeah.
I don't quite know how it's going to work.
But does that mean like your phone's going to be? I mean, you say it's not GPS, so it's Bluetooth.
Mm.
You're going to have your Bluetooth on though, aren't you?
Yeah, but they didn't they say that is because it won't drain your battery.
I thought Bluetooth drained it anyway, didn't
Yeah,
it?
I don't know.
Because I thought Bluetooth, if ever it's always it's always trying to connect with someone, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
That's how Bluetooth works, isn't it?
Mm,
So like if you've got it turned, that's how it knows where you've been because obviously if it's on all the time,
mm,
I mean, I don't know if it does, I mean, it must. You've been trying to connect to people, haven't you?
yeah,
So
yeah,
there must be a network somewhere where it,
yeah.
obviously
Must ping off.
yeah, it must ping, mustn't it?
Yeah.
But then I mean, I know for certain that Bluetooth does drain your battery.
Mm, I
I
don't
mean, I
know.
don't even know if my phone's like rigid enough to download the app because it's sort of on. Well, I don't think it's dead. It's not die. I don't think it's dying, but it's like I think I was saying the other day. I'm having to delete apps to sort of free up memory.
Well, yeah. I had to like do a factory reset on my phone the other day.
Oh, maybe that's what I should be doing then.
Yeah.
How do
Make
you
sure
do
you.
that? Is it in
Um.
settings?
Yeah.
So this is really boring for people who are listening. We're
Yeah.
just talking
My
about resetting.
there were functions on my phone that were just freezing, and I
Really,
uh
I need to do a
couldn't
factory
do any.
reset.
Yeah. So I did a factory reset, but make sure you've backed everything up.
Oh shit!
I
How do you
lost.
do that?
I tried to
Did,
back up WhatsApp, but it only
oh, so
backed
if you
up.
reset it, does it lose
It
all your previous
it
messages?
well, it erases everything on your phone.
But really, oh right, what are all your pictures and stuff?
Yeah. Well, if
Well, they've got to be in
make sure
your
you back them up on Google or whatever.
or your cloud thing,
Yeah,
whatever the hell it
I've
is.
saved all those.
Yeah, but literally everything that's on your phone then is that's just in the
Yeah, like
phone
all your
memory.
apps go and everything,
Yeah.
but
Do
then
you
you
have to do
can
you have to re-download them all again then?
it it prompts you to do it, so
Right,
it
right.
will reinstall all the ones that you had on there.
Oh, I see. Okay, fair enough.
Um, but yeah, you have to have it backed up.
Now, do you have I mean, does it mean you've got to go back in and put your passwords back in and
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah, it's a bit of a
Or
hassle.
pain in
It
the
was a
ass.
bit
But
of a
did
palaver.
it work though? Did it free
It
up
did
loads of
work.
memory?
Yeah,
What did you like free up like gigabytes worth or
yeah, about three, I think.
3 gig?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Because I'm down to like half a gig now. That's all I've got left on it,
right, right.
and I haven't got anything like there's nothing
Yeah,
as far as I know.
I was a bit
It's,
worried when I did it, but
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Unless King Jong Un's like listening, he's probably like that's why it's draining all my memories, like tracking me.
He's alive, is he? Is he?
He wasn't he like bouncing around, wasn't he? He looks
Oh yeah,
fatter. He
fatter.
looks bigger. I
Yeah,
think he's just been off filling his face for like
like
that's
all of
where he's
us.
been. It's like all you can eat buffet. That's where he's been for a month. He was fine. It wasn't a heart operation. He was
Yeah,
just like in Pizza Hut or
all
something.
that with Trump saying, "Oh yeah, I know." They were asking him if he knew, weren't they, at press conferences, and he was like,
Oh, were they?
yeah,
I
he's
haven't
like,
been looking
"Oh,
at that one.
I know stuff, but I can't tell you." I
Well,
do know.
did
I
like
hope he's all right.
did
I
King
know.
Jong Un tell him not to say? Don't
Yeah,
Donald, don't say anything.
yeah,
It's my birthday and I'm eating loads of jelly.
yeah. I
But
don't
no,
know.
I thought he certainly looked a bit. Have you not seen him?
I,
He did some, didn't he? Do some
oh, didn't he open some fertilizer factory or something
something like that,
bizarre?
probably.
Like he cut a
Yeah, that's
ribbon
what I
or
did.
something.
That's it. I did see him cutting a ribbon
Yeah,
while his sister looked on with daggers in
yeah,
her eyes,
yeah.
like she really gets into isn't
Yeah,
she?
she's quite evil looking, isn't she? Yeah.
It's,
God, yeah.
she's got proper stink eye. That one. Yeah. Watch your back, King Jong. She's like Kim, have another waffle. She just wants to kill him, get him to get diabetes. Have another dumpling, Kim. Come on, you know you want to.
Oh
But
dear.
yeah, so he's out. Unless he's like an animatronic one,
Yeah, he could be, couldn't he?
maybe
But
a
he's probably
robot.
got doubles, hasn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
Or
Could be one of slightly
trebles
more.
or
He's got like an
quadruples of him.
overweight double.
Yeah.
Couldn't quite get the right sort of
Yeah.
size. That's the best they could do on short notice.
Get the fatter one.
I've seen talking of conspiracy theories and stuff, and I see David Icke's back on Facebook.
Oh, is he? Because he got
I
kicked off,
banned
didn't he?
I thought he was banned from YouTube, and
Yeah. Oh, right. Oh, he's
it
back, is he?
popped up in my feed like he was sharing some video with
Mm.
some other I don't know why it's in my feed, but it disappeared. Maybe he's promoting it because you can do that, can't you? I
Yeah.
don't know how all these algorithms work. Weirdly, I think because I'm a vegetarian, for some reason, I always get adverts for meat products. I think they're just trying to rub my nose in it. It's like I keep getting like for meat pies and sausages. It's like I think it's like someone's playing a dirty joke on me. It's a cosmic joke.
Oh,
Don't know
dear.
who's doing it. I'm going to know who they are.
It's the meat marketing board.
It is. They've got my number.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
But
Ah.
there you go. But it does kind of it does scare you a little bit because I've got like a Nectar Points app on my phone.
Mm.
So they know if I've scanned something in, don't they?
Mm.
It's all there, all that sort of. I wonder, like, so every time I buy a veggie pasty or whatever, or some corn chicken,
They're
uh,
judging you.
they're judging me. And this information gets sent to like Mattison's or
Yeah.
you know,
We've got to get him back on the meat.
got to get him back on the meat. That's what it is. Frey Bentos, they might be spamming me now. Boom, boom, boom. Although they do a vegan pie now.
Oh, do they?
I don't know how that's going to work. That was I did get that, but it appeared on my feed. It was like, I did get some vegetarian sort of spammy.
Would you trust them though, Frey Bentos?
Don't know.
They might slip a little bit in, might they?
Bit of meat in the
Just
factory.
yeah.
They won't know.
It's
just to get their own back.
It's the gateway meat.
Yeah, that's what it is, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
they get you on the vegan one, and then you think, might as well just have the meat one.
Let's have the real one.
Let's have the real one, yeah. Yeah, that's what they're hoping with. Mistakenly buy a meat one.
Yeah.
Frey Bentos, eh?
Yeah. We might get some free Frey Bentos.
Bernard Matthews.
They're listening. Bernard Matthews.
Oh yeah, good. Yes, this podcast comes sponsored by Frey Bentos vegan pies. That'd be good.
We need a sponsor.
Yeah, we do really. Yeah. Well, yeah. Join my Patreon account now for nudes.
Yeah.
Now send me money, or I'll publish the nudes. It's my threat.
Do you think we could make 20,000 a week?
God, can you imagine?
Mm.
But it's like, I mean, in all sort of respects, who would want to work if you can get just like, I mean, I understand it, in a sort of financial, monetary way. Like, if you've just got to show an itty bitty titty, someone's going to pay you 20 grand a week. Would you? You probably would, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
No one wants to see my bitch tits, but I mean, if I had an attractive rack and I could get 20 grand a week, I don't know. But it's just that's that whole weird thing, isn't it, about the sexes, isn't it? Because women don't really want to buy pictures of nude blokes, do they? Really?
Not really. No. Maybe
a kind of
fireman's calendar once a year.
Yeah, perhaps we could do that.
Yeah.
We could do like just the two of us up a step ladder. Buy the Total Cult. What are we? Are we Total Cult or are we Spods?
We're bit of both.
We're a bit schizophrenic when we're not sure.
We go both ways.
We can. For money we will. If they're paying. Yeah, we'll do the Spodcast official calendar. We could do that, couldn't we?
Yeah.
You got any uniforms?
Have
I've got a surgical mask. To wear that.
Have you got one?
Well, it's not a mask. No, so that's a lie, actually. I've got a hat.
That's nothing like a mask.
Well, but you can fashion it into a mask.
Oh, okay.
A really bad, ineffective one, obviously.
Balaclava.
It was the hat or balaclava. It's the surgical hat that I wore when my son was born. Did you get one?
No.
You didn't get a blue hat?
No. I didn't have any of that.
Were you in?
I was in.
Yeah,
there.
really. I got told to put. You
were in theatre though, weren't you? You were in.
I was in the surgery. Were you not then?
Well, she had them naturally.
That was
theatre.
That's an open wound, isn't it? Because it was it was cesarean.
That's not see a film or anything.
No, and it wasn't the cinema either.
It's a different kind of theatre.
She didn't give birth in the cinema either. Maybe because there was because it's cesarean. I guess it's like it's surgery, isn't it? Open wound.
Yeah.
As it were.
Yeah.
And that's probably why I had to wear. I don't see why I had to wear that though. That was it. That was all. I wouldn't have did I have booties on? I don't know. I can't remember now. I don't think I wore. I might have had booties on actually, or like those little paper ones.
Oh, slip-on things over you.
Actually, I think I did have. Yes, I did. I do actually remember that. Yeah, I've still got my little blue hat thing that I wore in surgery, which could fashion into a mask.
Yeah.
So it's. I mean, if I I guess I could kind of do a very bad doctor. Yeah. So there's a thought. So maybe we could branch out into that then.
You've got that heart, haven't you, as well? That
oh yeah.
You could do
a medical themed calendar.
Do a heart transplant on me or something.
What, for a calendar?
Yeah.
A bit inappropriate, isn't it? What month would you put that in? Oh, Valentine's, probably February. Yeah, there's me performing heart surgery on you for February. I like it. Well,
Maybe
we'll,
it,
we'll,
yeah,
we'll muse on that.
yeah. I think yeah.
Yeah, send your suggestions in, anyone who's listening.
So we've got February. We just need
Yeah, yeah, we just need the
11.
rest. We'll dress up. Any requests? Um, yeah. So what? Any more for any more?
No, I think we should leave it at the calendar.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to top that. Actually, I think
No,
that'd be
we've
I
got
don't know how to top
we've
that.
got 6 or 7 months to work out that for next year.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Let's quit while we're ahead, sort of
yeah.
thing. Right. Well, anyway,
All right.
so it's thanks for listening, everyone out there. And
Yeah,
I do think we should get Lunny Bunny on sometime as well.
yeah, yeah,
If you listen to this, Lunny, we haven't forgotten you, man.
yeah. We want you.
We do. You could be in the calendar as
Yeah,
well.
he could. Yeah, yeah. He could pick his own month.
I wonder if he's got any uniforms at home. What's he? Yeah, he's probably got a suit because I think he works in an office.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah,
there you go.
yeah.
Okay,
All
so
right.
signing off. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yeah. Thanks
Hope
very
you
much.
enjoyed that.
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the main thing, isn't it? That
yeah,
me and you enjoy it. Stuff
yeah,
everyone else.
yeah.
And we'll see you on the next one soon. Take
All
care,
right.
everyone, and
Yeah,
remember, keep your distance.
that's right. Yeah, 2 meters. Although apparently it's not really that
It might be
important.
more than that.
Well, no, they're saying now 2 meters is, you know, doesn't really matter
Doesn't really make any difference.
now that they want us all to go back to work and stuff.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Well, not
Yeah,
us. They
forget
don't want
that.
us to go.
But we've got to wear masks, aren't we?
Yeah,
Potentially.
yeah. Well, you're all right.
So I've got my little paper one,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know what
Yeah.
I'll do.
T-shirt. People have
Yeah,
been using those, haven't they?
underpants.
Underpants, yeah, they've been using those.
Yeah.
Cut some underpants. Got you any old wife fronts from back in the day?
I can dig some out, I'm sure.
Cut some of them up
Yeah.
and fashion a mask.
Hmm.
Nice one.
Okay.
All right, folks.
All right.
Till next time.
Yep.
See them.
Bye.
Happy viewing.